All right. Sneak peek at Freaky Friday. This is why you always lock your doors. A few years ago, there was a woman named Jane. Jane had just gotten an apartment with her best friend Erica. They've been living in this apartment for roughly a few months. When one day, Erica came up to Jane and said, "Hey, I'm going out for the weekend. You have the apartment to yourself. Have fun. Do whatever. It's all for you." So, she waited until about 4 o'clock when Erica said, "Hey, I'm heading out for the weekend. Again, it's all yours. Have an amazing time." So that night, Jane came out of her room after Erica left. She came out and sat on the couch in her living room, turned on TV, and was enjoying a fantastic night. Just channel after channel trying to find something good to watch. So eventually, she found something great. She sat down and just started binging show after show, episode after episode. Called in, ordered a pizza, everything was in order. Jane was just skipping to the next episode when down the hall from her room, she heard a crack. And she paused the TV and turned so that her left ear was facing down towards the hallway. And she listened really closely for any noise at all. But there was nothing. Jane sat up and said, "Oh, it's just my imagination. I'm home alone tonight. It's been a while since I've been alone. My brain's just going crazy." Pressed play and kept watching her show. About an hour passed. She had had a few slices of pizza, had a few drinks, and was still watching TV. And all of a sudden, coming from Erica's room, was a very, very loud crack. Jane immediately paused the TV and went, "That's not in my head." And she listened. She turned her left ear again and listened closely. And as she listened, she started realizing she heard something this time. So she got up and made her way towards Erica's room. Step by step, inch by inch. When she did get to Erica's room, she put her ear towards the door, and that's when she heard it. Scuttering, moving, just all across the room. And she stopped and she goes, "That's not right. No one's here. What is that?" And she listens closer again. And all of a sudden it stops. It goes almost like whatever was in there heard her. She took a deep breath and reached for the door handle when her phone rang. She brushed it off, said, "I'm just hearing things. I just finished watching a few horror movies, and I'm just hearing things." Walks back to the couch, sits down, picks up her phone, and answers it. On the line, she hears Erica. Loud music. She said, "Oh, hey, just checking in on you." Jane's like, "I'm fine, It's a nice quiet night here." As she's on the phone with Erica, she hears it again. Crack. This time it's consistent. Almost like it's moving. And then she hears it one final time to her left. In the kitchen, a very loud crack. Jane doesn't dare move her head. She slowly looks over with her eyes, and draped over the fridge is an arm and a hand, and it slowly drags up the wall, out of sight. She doesn't dare move. Something's there, and something's in the house with her. But she doesn't know what. As she's deciding what to do, she subconsciously grabs her phone and puts the phone in her pocket. The second her hand leaves her pocket, she heard it one final time. But this time, the crack was right above her. And that's when she realized it's like cracking bones. Something's there. Something's moving. Something is breaking whenever this thing moves. So, she sits there for a minute. But her instincts tell her to run. Where she knows the second she gets up and runs is the second she's dead. She gets up very calmly and she says, "Fuck, Erica forgot to take out the trash." She walks towards the door and picks up the trash. She says, "Oh man, I'm getting spooked." And she opens up the door, walks out, and slowly closes it. And the second the door closes, Jane drops the trash and bolts. And she runs as fast as she can, the fastest she has ever run in her life, to get away from whatever might be in her room. She gets downstairs into the lobby and she makes the phone call to the police. Police arrive and they get her statement. She says that somebody was in her room. She doesn't know where they were, but she heard them. Police go upstairs and they're doing their business. Jane is in the lobby just pacing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. When suddenly, a policeman comes down. He comes up to her and he says, "All right. You said someone broke in?" And she's like, Yes. I don't know who it was. I only saw an arm." And the policeman looks at her and goes, "Well, that makes two of us. Ma'am, we have no idea what was in your room." And Jane looks at him confused, like, "What?" And the policeman looks at her and goes, "Ma'am, there were marks on your walls and on your ceiling that can only be described as claw marks. We have no idea what was in your room. But we did look, and we checked high and low, and we couldn't find it. We did notice, though, the sliding door to your patio was open. And we also know that you're on the third story. So nothing could have just jumped down and survived. Whatever this thing was, it's not human. Whatever this thing was, it's gone now. You're safe." Jane thanks the officers and goes, "Okay, thank you. I'll head it back up." And they go, "Okay." They get her statement one final time, and they leave. And the second the policemen are gone, she turns around and says, "I am not staying in this apartment 1 second without Erica in here. Never again." So she leaves the apartment. Erica comes home, and they discuss what happened. Erica laughs and says, "You got a wild imagination." And Jane's like, no, you don't understand. This is real. This happened. Like, look at the ceiling. And she's... The ceiling has always had nicks and cuts and stuff like that. It's nothing new. You're fine. Erica and Jane, after talking for hours, decide it's finally time to go to bed. And Jane lays in bed and she's tossing and turning. She goes, I know it was real. I know it was. I can't decide. And she turns to her right and lays on her right side and goes, maybe it was just all in my head. Maybe I should stop watching horror movies. And she closes her eyes. And she starts to drift off to sleep.